I made this tabletop-sized ring hook game. It's perfect for summer patios and indoor games. Here's how I made it. Here are the materials I used. There's a list in the description below. Some 3.5-inch wide board, 1.5-inch board, and a 1-inch dowel. Two 1-inch metal rings, two screw-in hooks, two screw-in eye hooks, some nylon string, but any string works, it doesn't really stretch, two screws, wood glue, and some stain. I used a variety of tools, but you don't need all of these and can skip some of the steps if you don't have that certain tool. A good example is this Chopsaw. If you don't have one, this is still a very easy project to do with a handsaw. First, cut your 3.5-inch board to 10 inches long. Then, cut your 1.5-inch board to 14 inches long. Take the 1-inch dowel and cut it to 10 and 1/4 inches long. Measure and mark all of the wood first so I don't go back and forth between cutting and measuring. Just makes it easier and simple. You also don't need like a woodworking shop to do this. I'm making this on my back deck, and it is a really simple project to do. You can make this anywhere. Like I said, some of these steps are optional. This is one of them. I'm going to make a 45-degree cut on the 1.5-inch board, which is the top of the game. I just think it looks nicer. We need to find the center of the baseboard. Because this board is 3.5 inches tall, the center line will be 1.75 inches. And then the length is 10, so the center is 5 inches. Just make that mark there. The center for the top piece is 3 1/4 inches up and 7 inches in. So far, so good, right? Cut the wood to size and center it. We need to drill some pilot holes for the screws. Select a drill bit that is slightly smaller than the screw threads. This will allow the screw threads to secure themselves into the wood. When drilling holes through wood, it's a good idea to place scrap wood under the piece. This helps prevent tear out on the bottom of the workpiece. Drill the same hole on the top piece of wood. Here's another optional step that adds a bit more professionalism to the game. I'm going to countersink the screw head so it doesn't stick out of the wood when it's assembled. I don't have a countersink drill tool, so I'm just using a drill bit that is the same size as the screw head. Drill down just a small amount to allow the screw head to be flush with the wood. Only countersink one side of the hole. Once again, this could be an optional step, but I would suggest doing it. I'm drilling an indentation into the bottom and top two boards for the 1-inch dowel to sit in. This just adds some stability. At the time of filming, I used a 1-inch drill bit with my handheld drill. If you have access to a drill press, I would suggest using it. You need to keep the drill bit really straight, otherwise the dowel might be crooked when assembled. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part of woodworking, and that's sanding. I just used 120 grit on my Orbital Sander. I lost the vacuum cover for it, so, wear a dust mask. Don't want to be breathing in wood. It looks like we're assembling here, but we're not. I'm just drilling pilot holes into the dowel using the existing holes in the bottom and top baseboard. Okay, now we're ready for assembly. Put some glue into the indentations and start screwing the three pieces together. Start at the bottom and work your way to the top piece. Just straight down and try and get the dowel straight as you can. Don't screw the screw all the way down just yet. Use that looseness to adjust the dowel, make sure it's straight up and down. Do that from all corners and sides. And when you have it straight, then you can tighten that screw all the way in. This step is made a lot easier if you use a drill bit that is straight up and down when you drill those indentations for the dowel. This is why a drill press can really come in handy. And I actually ended up buying one halfway through this video, but I didn't use it for this step right here. When you tighten everything together, it should look something like this. Side note, I actually screwed the top on upside down, but no biggie. We're going to flip the game upside down and drill some pilot holes for the little eye hooks for the strings. These holes are drilled at 5.5 inches out from the center dowel. And just use a little drill bit, make some pilot holes, and these are little eye hooks that we just hand screw in there. Okay, this might be the most important step. Tie your string to the top eye hook, and I was using like a nylon string. A lot of people use paracord or similar. Take the other end and get your metal ring in there. These are 1-inch metal rings. We want to tie the metal ring so it doesn't hit the baseboard. I've had this happen in the past. We want that to clear. And then where that ring touches the dowel, that's where we're going to drill a pilot hole for our hooks. Make a little mark where that ring touches the dowel, and that's going to be where our pilot hole goes. And then I'm going to use a tiny drill bit just to make some pilot holes all the way through the dowel. They'll create two holes on either side, and that's where we're going to screw in the little hooks. You can find these hooks at like Walmart or similar stores. Amazon will have them. And when it's screwed in, the metal ring should touch right where the hook goes into the dowel. Go ahead and get the other side done and measure your string to the distance and do exactly the same. I'm not very good at tying knots yet, so what I like to do in this next step is take a little bit of wood glue and just dab it on those knots, and that really keeps it from slipping and coming loose. If you make better knots than I do, probably won't have this issue. And instead of wood glue, I'd use a super glue. It just dries clear. Cut off the excess string, and we're almost finished now. Now it's time to stain this to the color of your choice. And really, you could stain before attaching these strings and ring. That might prevent some of the stain from getting on the rope, but I chose not to. Now on to the final step. We're going to make the game board piece for the shot glass. Technically, I guess this is optional, but usually included. I use 1/2 inch board here instead of the 3/4 inch thick, and this is cut to 9 inches. You need to find the exact center of this board and draw a line across. On the next screen, here are some spacing specs for this piece. Each hole is 1.5 inches wide with a 1/4 inch of space between. The center of each hole is at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and pause it if you need to. I bought a drill press off Facebook with some Forstner bits, and this is perfect for it. Now, if you don't have a drill press or a 1.5 inch wide drill bit, use a smaller drill bit and maybe some golf tees for a marker. It doesn't have to be a fit a shot glass. Use anything as long as you like to keep score. Give it a little test run, and of course the next step is just sanding and staining this piece. Not very exciting, just make it match the original. For reference, I sell this on my website for about $35. I also make a larger version made from 2x4s for a bit more money. I hope this helps you out and leave any questions below. Thanks all.